Hi guys, so welcome to my tutorial, and this time I have a great puzzle for you, and this is emailed to me by one of my subscribers, Himani, and this is her email where she has written that I'm trying to implement a revised toll road after every 3 years, and the assumption she has taken this and that. So I have actually discussed this thing in detailed manner with over the phone, and then what exactly she wants to do is she wants to get this number from this position. Let's say this is assume that this is a number which we are actually interested in taking. So the requirement is sort of this, that if I'm getting here my number of years 3, let's say this is something which she wants to automate. If she's going to enter here 3, and again this is going to be the 15% of the revision in the toll rate, then what exactly we want to do is we want to get this 1,20,000 3 times here, like this. Okay, and after every now 3 years, because I have entered here the number of years as 3, so what we want to do is after 3 years we want to get this by incremented by 15%. So what we want to do is we want to calculate it the 15% plus we want to actually add this number to this 1,20,000. So it is going to be 138,000. Now next time again this will remain as it is, for the next 3 years, and after again 3 years again this is going to be incremented by 15%, because your rate of interest there, whatever you have written there, assumption, it says 15%. So this is how you're actually going to deal with this situation, right? So at the same time, what we are looking forward is that if somebody is going to change this number to, let's say, 2 years, okay, then this formula which you have applied here, this should automatically be converted after every on every third value. So which means then I would be getting here this 13,800 on the third place, which is this, and then this 1,58,700 should be here, yeah, like this, right? And then thereafter it should keep on incremented by the 15% to its previous value, right? And if I'm going to change this to, let's say, 4 years, then what will happen is, as you might have judged by now, that this has to be on the 4 cells, and thereafter now I should be getting a new value, and it will also go for the 4 cells. So this is a kind of a requirement which we actually have to prepare. So I went ahead and thought of it, and so we are able to build this kind of this mechanism. So I just thought, why not to go forward and to share this video with you, because this is a really a very great question. So what we want to do is see, the idea is to get these numbers in parts. Now for example, let me just link this cell with the previous cell. Let me just move this sheet here, and let's say equals to assumptions. So I'm going to write here equals to, now why I'm doing this, just because so that we can see all the things right over here the moment I'm going to change any value, right? So anything which a user is going to change here, let's say I'm going to put here 2 and press enter, so this is going to be the 2, right? And similarly you can even play around with the assumption, will automate it. So now what we want is now the idea is to actually do this kind of a stuff. I want to actually prepare if the value 2 is here, then I want to go like this. I want to prepare these kind of a sets, these kind of a numbers, like this, right? So if somebody is going to enter here 3, then this formula should look like this: 1 1 1, and then 2, and then 2, and then 3, and then 3, and then 3. That's what I thought. Maybe you can develop some another mechanism after watching this video. So idea is to prepare actually the sets according to these numbers, right? So if I'm going to have 4 here, then 1 1 1 1, and then 4 times 2 and then 4 times 3. So this is what we are actually going to prepare. So what I thought of is I thought that why not to go ahead and use the mod function here, because that's what I think is the most closest formula to this kind of a question. So what I'm doing is I'm writing here these numbers as manually 1, because initially I want my calculation to be started from the 1. Thereafter what I'll do is I'll use this formula column. Now if you're not aware of this column function, what it does is it returns the column of the cell where this formula is going to be applied. So now if I drag this is what I'll get: 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 12, and then you can drag it further, right? And so now what we are going to do is, let me just color it. So now I have these numbers. Now what I want to do is I want to divide these numbers by this entry, right? And how you can divide it, you can use this mod function, mod. Now this is what I actually teach in my trainings. These kind of puzzles, these kind of exercises we do a lot, so that there would be a great scope of learning for you guys. So mod function, if you are not aware of, let me tell you, it actually returns the remainder. When you divide something by something, then whatever the remainder is there, it is going to give you that, right? So what we are going to do is we're going to divide this number, and let me just freeze this, and now let me press enter. Now you see here that if you're going to multiply this 2 by 3, then ultimately that 2 is a smaller number, so it is not going to be divided, because mod doesn't accept the numbers in the decimals, right? So that's why you're getting the remainder 2. Now if I'm going to drag this, see what will happen. Now this is called the magic, right? So now you need, if you're looking at these numbers, what is happening is on every third column, every the number which is which can be multiplied with this 3, now what could be those numbers? It could be the column 3, then it is going to be column 6, then it is going to be column 9, and then it is going to be column 12, and so on, right? So that's what is the catch of this entire exercise. So you see that here we are all getting the 0. So on every third item I will get 0, right? If I'm going to change this number to, let's say 4, see what will happen. Now on every fourth place I'm going to get the 0, right? This is amazing, right? So why it is giving me the 0? Because what I'm doing is these column numbers which I have written here, remember 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and so on, they are actually being divided by this 4, right? And so what is happening is all the columns which are multiple of 4s, they are actually giving us the remainder 0, because they are completely getting divided there. So that's the point, that's the crux. Now in order to get those sets, remember I was telling you that 1 1 1 1 4 times 1 4 times 2, what we actually want to do is we want to say that if I'm getting here 0, then it should be multiplied with this number, so that I should get this series, the set as 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 and 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4 is already coming perfect, so we don't have to touch it, especially to get this thing done, right? In order to convert it into 1 2 3 4 and 1 2 3 4 and so on, we have to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to use this condition, which is if the result of this function is going to be 0, which means this would come 0 on the column where that the column number which is actually a multiple of this 4. In this case it is going to be 4, right? So if it is going to be 4, then what I want is I want this value back. Let me freeze this, right? Otherwise what should happen? Otherwise it should actually give me that it should give me the division of that number, right? Simply it should go ahead and divide this the same thing which I have written here, right? So that we are going to get that number. So I'm going to paste it here. So now what will happen is on every fourth column I'll get 0 and it is going to be true. So what I'll get in the return is 823, and in 823 I have 4, and if it is not going to be 0, which means the column would be what? 1 2 3 5 6 7 and then 9 10 11, right? So on all those numbers I simply want to divide this by the same number which I have written here in order to get that 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 set. So I'm going to freeze this and let us check now. Okay, so now let us drag this and let's see what is going to happen. Now see this. This is what I was talking about, right? So 1 2 3 is remember, now again I'm repeating, this 1 is manually I have written here because we have to write this manually, and from here we have started it, right? So we are making the series, right? So every 2 3, these are the remainders, right? Because I'm going to divide this number with this value. And so if I'm going to write here, let's say I'm going to write here, let's say 2. Now see what will happen. So if you're going to write this 2 here, then what does that mean? It means that every column over here, like here I have column A, the number 1, the column B on the number 2, and here the column C on the number 3. So every second column now is going to be showing you 0, because this is what exactly you're going to do. So let me write it here like this. Maybe this can explain you. Right, so this is what the kind of the output I am getting here. So right now I have written here manually, but you can even use this function column and just simply say enter, and then you can drag it. So this is what you will get. Now it's a simple math. You know what I'm doing is I'm simply saying that divide this number by 2. So 1 is not greater than 2, so you'll get the remainder as 1, because it is not going to be divided as completely. So wherever you'll get the remainder 0, there you'll see that all right, I beg your pardon, I have to freeze this C44 because we want this to be divided. So on every second column you see that I will get 0, right? Because here the number is 2 and here the number is 4. So when you divide 4 by 2, what is the remainder? Obviously the remainder is 0, right? So that's the approach we are actually applying here. Now if I'm going to do this, let's say 1, right? So in case of 1, see, we have all these zeros, right? So if I'm going to write here, let's say 3, now see what is going to happen. On every third element, on every third column, I'm getting 0, because if I'm, so in other words, you can say that whatever you're going to write here, it is simply going to form those columns on that particular set. If you're going to write here, let's say 4, then you will have a set of 4 numbers, right? And the fourth number would always be 0, and prior to that it is going to be 1 2 3 0, right? 1 2 3 0, and so on, right? So if I'm going to write here 5, now see what will happen. It is going to be 1 2 3 4, and the fifth column would be 0, and thereafter again 1 2 3, and then you can again drag this formula, and you can see the things over here. So I'm gonna write here 9 and then 10 and so on, right? So this is how this mod function actually works. So once we have got these sets, now the idea is now again to get these numbers as 1 1 1 and then again 1 1 1 1 and so on, right? So let me quickly change this back to 3. Okay, now I've got here 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, as you can see here, right? So now the next thing which I want to do is, now whenever this value is getting changed, whenever I'm having this 1, that what does that mean? That means from there a new set is actually taking birth, right? So for here I have this complete set 1 2 3, and here I have this complete set 1 2 3. Maybe I can change the color, right? And from here I have a different set, right? So let's, or maybe let's just put this yellow, and let's change this color again, right? So this thing works like this. Now what we want to do is we want to say, if the difference between these two cells is going to be 1, then what does that mean? That means you are actually in the same set. But the moment it reaches here 1, so the difference between 1 and 3 is not going to be 1, which means that a new set is going to be started. So what we'll do is we'll add 1 to the previous set, right? So I keep this as 1 because we'll start with the 1. And now what we'll say is that if my this cell minus this cell, right, if my this cell minus this cell equals to 1, then that means the difference between this, if these two numbers is going to be 1, then that means they belong to the same subset. So what we'll do is we'll simply say that then pick this value, right? And in case if this is not, the difference is not 1, then what you need to do is you need to add +1 to it, right? So that a new set can be started, right? Now I'm going to drag this formula and see what will happen. Let's paste it here, right? And all right, so we are getting here problem, right? What we are seeing here is that it is adding 1 to this, which is B26. So we have a problem here. So what we'll do is we'll have to adjust this, because ideally this should look like this, right? So maybe then I guess instead of subtracting this, maybe you can use this logic that if this value is going to be greater than this, then maybe you would want a 1 to be written. And so I guess what we can do is, uh, because the first value will start from the 1, so I'll say that if it is going to be 1, then simply say 1, right? Okay, and let us try to drag this. All right, so you're again getting this difference, so let us check. All right, so my mistake, my bad, guys. I have not referenced the these cells correct, so ideally this should have been C and B. So it's always good to record the videos, like without any you know uh, mm, uh, kind of a script, you keeping the script to your left side, and then you are seeing all those things. So that's why I always prefer to record the videos from the scratch, so that when I'm writing something, when I'm making something, you can actually correlate yourself. You can put yourself into my shoes, and you can think the way I'm thinking. You can try to think on from that perspective as well. So now we have got the problem, that what was the problem, actually the comparison between the cells was wrong. So I think we can do this. If this minus this is going to be 1, then we should get this value 1, otherwise we should get this plus 1, right? Let us now try to drag this. So you're getting here 1, because now 2 is going to be subtracted from 3, which would mean that it belongs to the same set, and if it belongs to the same set, then it should pick the previous cell value, which is this value, right? 1. And now here 1 is not greater than the difference between 1 and 3 is not 1, so obviously it means that now the set is changed, a different category is there. So I hope that we'll get here 2, right? So we get the 2 here, we got the 2 here, and here I would get the 3, right? So this is a logic which I have applied here, right? So you can see here now we have got the correct set. So now we can simply go ahead and we can paste this formula, right? It might be looking a little difficult for you in case if you don't have any understanding for the mod, but as I said, you can watch this video again, and this will be actually going to give you a lot of learning in terms of that how you can use these functions, unexplored functions, I would say. People generally don't use these functions, but these are the functions which can be used in such situations. So now let's start quickly this. So we'll say that if now again I'm going to this is again going to be very tricky. So I'm going to say that if now this cell equals to this cell, now when this is going to be equal, only when these numbers are belongs to the same set, same category, same group, right? So if this is equals to this, that means that I should be getting this value, the same value, and I should not be incrementing it. So I'm saying that this is going to be this. In case if it is not equals to this, then what we want to do is we want to multiply this number with this assumption, and then at the same time we want to actually add this, right? So I'm going to enter this. Now you see here I've got all the things correct. What I need to do is I need to freeze the C14 and D8, right? Now let's go ahead and quickly drag this formula and see if we're getting the correct results or not, right? It seems to me that we are on the right side, but we'll still check. So here we have got 12,000, 12,600. All right, so here we have got the problem. So let us check what is the problem. So I'm going to press F2. So this is going to be if B26 is going to be equals to 826. Okay, all right, so my mistake, we forgot to freeze it. This value has to be freezed, right? Because this is the value which we actually want to take forward, and again this is going to be freezed. Yeah, that's it. So now let's drag this, and I hope that we'll get the correct result. And so here what we're getting here, we are again getting this problem. So let us quickly check. So ideally we should get here this 12,000. So let me see that what is the problem with this. All right, so it is doing the comparison with this and this, right? Oh yeah, so what we can do is, see now guys, you have to think, you have to think a lot. Now the comparison is correct, but I think the thing which we did wrong is instead of starting your formula from here, because the first value will always be this, right? Whatever the value you have, you're using it right from here, let's say, right? Now from here, now you actually are going to build the formula. So now what you'll do is you say that if this is equals to this, then use this value, or maybe you can use this as well, that's one of the same thing. And otherwise, if this is not equals to this, then what you need to do is you need to take the 15% of this, which is this assumption, and then you need to add this number again to its assumption, which is this. And I think that's how you're going to build this. And let us quickly freeze these numbers, right? And if so, this is also going to be no, this is not going to be freezed, so let's just keep it open. And yeah, so now let us drag this. We're getting here this correct value, and so let me just see this. So why we're getting the issue here? Because this number is not equal to this number. So so yeah, so that's what we want actually. So assumption E49 is not freezed, so that's the problem. So we need to freeze this, right? Because C14 has to be freezed. Now let me just quickly drag this and see if we're getting the result. Yeah, so we're getting the results here, right? So this is how you can actually prepare this. Now we can go through this, what we exactly did. So far I think till this everything is okay. Now what we did is the very first value should obviously be the same value from where we are starting, and then next time what we did is we have already prepared these sets, right? So the purpose of these sets is to simply actually do the comparison. If they are equals to each other, if this value is equals to this value, then that means that this value should not change actually, right? Because ideally this is supposed to be changed only when you have a new value here, new set here, right? So that's what exactly I did. So what I did is these assumption and revenue tabs, which are these tabs, 15% and 3, this I have actually freezed, right? And rest of the things, the comparison, this is it keeps on moving. And so if I come over here, then what is happening, if I press F2, you see that this 2 is not equals to this 1. So obviously that means a new set is now, a new category is there, a new group is there. So when it is going to be a new group, what I want is I want the increment of that 15%. So this is how you can build. Now let us see that if it is working if I change this to 2. Now if I'm going to change this to 2, let's see. Now you can see here that I have now got this 2 times, and thereafter the value is now incremented, and there again the value is incremented for the next 2 cells, and then again this is like keeps on incrementing. And if I'm going to do this, let's say 4, then let's see if we're getting the results. So this is how 1 2 3 4, and then 1 2 3 4, and then 1 2 3 4. So that's what actually my this subscriber wanted me actually to do. And so I guess we are good to go here. And so what we did is we can quickly and yeah, one thing more, it would be quite interesting to see this number of here as 1. Wow, this is really great, right? So if I'm going to enter here 1, then that means every time this value should be changed, so it is changing, right? That's quite very nice to see. So what we did is we used the mod function, and we said that whatever the number is going to be here, that column number is going to be 0, right? So obviously if I'm going to write here 1, that or maybe if I'm going to write here, let's say 3, then what does that mean? That simply means that on every third column I will get the 0, because 3 is going to be multiplied with this number, and it is going to be again found under this a table of 3. And so we know that if I'm going to multiply any number like 3 6 9 12 and so on, then we'll get the remainder 0. So what we did is we were getting this 1 to 0 1 to 0 1 to 0 1 to 0 kind of a series, right? So the 0 was a problem for us, because then we were not able to create this kind of a logic, right? So that's why what I did is I said that if the function is going to give me the 0, then that means it is it is actually a number which can be divided by this number. So I got that number returned. So we got the series 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and similarly if I'm going to get here 4, then 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And here now what I did is, here exactly, this is again, I thought a lot on this. So I said that if this is series 1 2 3 4, then obviously it means it is incrementing by 1. So where you will not actually get this difference of 1, that only that cell need to be picked up. So what we did is, we said that if the this the number which is in the which is coming after this the before number, right? If I'm going to subtract that number from the previous number, right, the forward number, then if the answer is 1, then that means they belong to the same set. And if it is not, then it can happen only when actually you have the new number starting from the 1. So here we are checking that if this 1 and 3 is not going to give us the 1 as an answer on subtracting, so obviously that means a new set is formed. So that's why we said that then please add 1 to this previous number, and this is what it is actually doing, this C26 plus 1. So it is adding simply 1 to it. Now once you get the 2 here, so obviously this time here you are getting again 1, and 1 minus 3 would not give you 1. So in this 2, this 1 will be added. So once we get this kind of a set, what we did is that we simply go ahead and started writing this formula, that if these comparisons, if these numbers are equals to each other, then don't give us any multiplication, just give us what? Give us D13. D13 is the previous cell value. So this is how I prepared this, and you can practice it, you can watch it again, and I'm sure you will be able to understand this, right? So I'll come up with some more sort of this exercise as and when I receive such fantastic question from you guys. So till then, take care and stay fit. Bye bye.